stays with the lathe at all times. It doesn't wander off into the shop to be used somewhere else. It doesn't get like borrowed or stuffed in some sort of pocket. If it comes out of the box, it goes back into the box. And please keep the box closed when you're not actively taking things out or putting things back in. Keeps it nice and clean. All right, we're ready to move on? All right, so I'm going to keep this book out for right now while we talk through a couple of important features. So tonight we'll be covering basic tool geometry. If you can't sharpen, you can't use the lathe. Yeah, it's not like drill bits where you can just buy a new one and think everything's going to be okay. We're going to talk about measuring and metrology and what that exactly means in the terms of machine tools. We're going to talk about speeds and feeds for cutting. You know, what is a good cut? How do we get there? What is it going to take to maintain it? Basically, the two options that we're going to be working with today are cutting with a single tool bit. We're going to cover drilling, and we're going to cover general tool alignment and measurement. So they're all in here, and I think that if you look only in this book and refrain from using YouTube, you'll be just fine, as long as you don't get sucked into the machine. All right. So on the topic of using your brain, let's see, we're going to put this up here. One of the most important tools that you'll ever find in your entire basic 6-inch pocket ruler. So at least for general reference and measurement, these are super handy. And if you know how to use them, you can actually get down to at least the 10th, if not the 100th of an inch, even for a basic ruler like this. So this ruler goes in the box. The other measuring tools. In general, the measuring tools go on the top. And then whatever is dirty and cutting tools and stuff, or dirty-ish, goes in the bottom. We've got a couple of more measurement tools. These seem incredibly simple, but the old-timers and you too can measure down to the 1,000th of an inch using calipers. So it's all about feel and skill. That's something that I hope that you spend time developing, but it's not required. These are all tools that are going to be in the box, so I've got outside and inside. And then this little devil, go ahead and pass it around. Although it looks simple, it's incredibly valuable for tool grinding and getting the right angles to whatever kind of tool you're going to need to use on the lathe. They're cheap, they're easy to find. Get yourself one if you don't want to borrow it. They're nice to have around, and they're really handy for machine work. All right, so, yep, what's that?
What's it called?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's a General 99. It's it's number 16. The General number 16.
I just want to make sure everybody's okay if I post a live video on Instagram as we're doing this. If you don't want to be on camera, let me know and I'll make sure you're not. But I was going to do a little bit of a live stream because it's exciting.
Did you make me look good?
No. We'll have Marina's glasses.
All right, so I guess the star of the show really is the lathe. So if you guys want to come and take a look at it, we'll walk through each of its parts, cutting true and straight cuts. So the lathe itself has been leveled with a master precision lathe, or a master precision level. So it measures in increments of 5/10,000ths per foot. So I used this surface and this surface as my primary levels. And using shims under the feet, I took the twist out of the bed, so the bed is better than 1,000th of run out per 4 feet. So that's pretty good for an old machine like this. This level is available for me to, it's mine. I'm not going to leave it out. But it's the lathe is accurate, so That's as best as we can do. So try not to knock it off the table. It, you know, you handle it or you get it warm, it changes and gets funky. So the general parts of the lathe are covered obviously in the book. We've got a tailstock, a saddle, a carriage. I've got the chuck. This is a 3-point long extension support for the lathe. Basically what I'm doing here is I've got a long piece of material that's going to be too floppy if I need to do work on it, so I support it with this. It comes off when we're not using it. The jaw, this is a 4-jaw chuck that we use for this lathe. I've got a 3-jaw chuck. It's not very accurate, so the 4-jaw is the master of all chucks. You can always get stuff centered in it. You can drill off center. It's just really handy. 3-jaws are good, but you can never have repeatable results in them. So once it's set, and it's really hard to repeat. This is an older lathe, so it was generated at the transition between overhead flat belt drive and electric like rubber belt drive. So it still has pulleys, like it would be driven from the ceiling, but this is a like 1 year only casting, 1923, where they kept the top assembly and then they kind of figured out a way to monkey electric motor onto the back of it. But this is how it was created, and it's useful. This is the speed adjusting lever, and what it does is it shuttles from left to right, and it lets you change from smaller to larger cones and adjust the speed of the lathe. We'll get into measuring the RPMs and cutting and stuff a little bit later. Yeah.
Is this much different than like a little more modern, and is it more gear driven? Like, let's say if I is there a cover that goes on this, or
Nope,
this is
that's
it? So that's it. So
That's
no,
below,
no. So
yeah.
this is way older. Like you're saying, 20s. Compared to
1923
like
is one.
50s, 60s is going to be completely encased and more of a gear.
Not always, but yeah, in general, they have a V-belt drive.
I just, I was like,
Gearing and stuff is back here. We're not going to get into it tonight, but everything below this knob is part of the second class. And there's basically power feed options, which are something that are outside, like it's going to take at least 2 hours just to cover that. So to keep it nice and safe and clean, we're actually going to this stays in the center position unless you've had the training to deal with it. All right. So we've got some tooling that I just hang my wrenches from the machine here. These are to stay with the machine. I was getting this tuned up earlier, or straightened earlier. So what I want you to do is watch how I interact with the machine. So it's one thing to talk about it, it's another thing to see it happen.